Hello. Okay, so yesterday on a few walks, there is this little, I'm actually about to walk by it right now. I don't know if you heard the cow in the background, but there's a free range area for some animals, and there is this brown horse with like a white diamond. I just realized that a white diamond on its like forehead. Speaking of, there's another brown horse that I'm seeing right now. Same thing, brown horse with a white diamond on its forehead. So it was acting like more peculiar than usual. Oh, and here's a dragonfly that just landed at my feet. So iridescent sheen can be something that's coming up. Or that color scheme. Would you call it iridescent a color? Well, yeah, pearlescent, iridescent. So yeah, the horse I was walking by, and it was like running up to the gate and just like, it seemed like restless, or like it was trying to like leave the gate or something. And we were like staring at each other, and then it started to, like neigh, really loudly. But I had to go, so I kept walking. And on the way back, maybe like an hour later, it was still there doing the same thing. So obviously I hoped it was okay. And then when I came back into the location I was going, where I'm staying, it's pretty close by. As soon as I walked in, the window was cracked, and I heard the horse make that sound again. And I kept hearing the last 2 days in my head, like freedom codes. And yeah, the horse was just, the horses can represent freedom. And so it was very interesting interaction with this horse. And just before I started to record this, I noticed I was sitting in the kitchen, and all of these, today's like a beautiful day where I am. Like generally it's pretty rainy here, supposedly. I was going to say supposedly, but I almost said opposingly. So maybe someone here is dealing with some opposition, but now there's like this white moth butterfly thing. It just flew over my head, and I just walked into some kind of web as I was talking about opposition, and I was literally about to talk about spiders and weaving webs, and I walked into a web. But where I'm walking right now, it's like dead in the middle of like a gravel road, and it doesn't look like the web can attach to anything. So very interesting how this web just appearingly came out of nowhere. Yeah, I'm hearing the phrase silken thread. As we know, Tantra translates to the word weave, to weave. So today when I was in the kitchen about to come out here to start recording, I just noticed in the window there were like multiple different spiders making different webs. And like, often I've seen spiders in this place. They're generally just pretty, just kind of chilling there, so patiently. And today it was like, I don't know, there was like a memo, like work on the webs, and like all these spiders there were like 3 or 4 of them in different spots weaving their webs, so that I saw all at once, which I thought was pretty cool. So a creative breakthrough can be something that has happened recently. It feels like it's already happened, or it's like in the process of happening. And back to the diamond on the horse, the brown horse, on its forehead. There's something here about the, again, freedom codes, diamond. Oh. And guess what is on my hand as I'm speaking, on my right hand? A little tiny spider. So crazy. Like, I don't even know where it came from. I feel it, but I can't. It disappeared. I'm not quite sure where this tiny little spider went, but I swear I did not see it before. Okay, yeah, so there's something about wow, all these leaves are falling as I walk in my path. So there's something here about, yeah, the diamond crystalline Keylon codes I'm hearing. So lately there's been a lot of like the heart, crystalline core, like universal heart, cosmic heart. There's different names for like the unconditional love template, and the thymus, like the high heart. But today I'm seeing it focused on like the center of the forehead, the what we call, I guess, like the third eye energy center, and the peripheral. So there's some sort of like crystalline Keylon codes that are activating in that aspect. It's not like just in like, so we talk about the pineal gland, but it's also like I'm seeing like the back of the pineal gland and it like coming through almost like a prism, like an iridescent sheen rainbow light coming through the mind's eye and then out the back, and then it's like permeating through the hemispheres of the brain, sort of intersecting the hemispheres through the corpus callosum in the center, and then like activating what some people have been calling, I believe, rhombenite crystals in the brain that connect us deeper into the morphogenetic field. So yeah, there's something here about a Keylon code activation in, yeah, it's not just, this is like not just a, what we call a third eye activation. It is actually like hemi-sphinxing. Nope, sphinxing. Oh my God. So the Sphinx could be something. They say there's something like a secret hidden wisdom code in the paw of the Sphinx. I meant to say syncing. So someone here could be practicing hemi-syncing. You could be working with binaural beats, or this could be something you've been doing for a while. You know, each person will be different. Or something you're being called possibly to do if that feels right for you. Yeah, but there's something about the these like hatching of Keylon codes in the hemi-syncing of both sides of the brain, coming into union, if you will. It's kind of cool. Yeah, like we talk about this phrase divine union, and it's like there's different levels, different I'm not getting quite the word that I want, that I feel, so I'll kind of skip that for now. But yeah, it feels like there's been some sort of unconditional love template imprint in your own blueprint, if you will, that has now, it's like rising up into the hemispheres of the brain. So rewiring of the brain could be something you've been working with, reneural patterning, subconscious purging. They say, oh, okay, so here's a web this is interesting. I see it. It's so long, and it's like coming out from a post on one of the wooden posts to keep the animals in their space. And it's so long, and I can see it so clearly. And it's funny because before I walked into the web and I didn't see where it came from. So yeah, there's some sort of like clarity, illumination of maybe something before that would have kind of gotten you tangled up, or that you're finally seeing before you step into this entanglement. Quantum entanglement could be relevant as well. Maybe that's something you've been working with in some sort of way. If you're not familiar with it, feel free to, look it up, and maybe you've been working with that concept and haven't really known the name of it. Each of you will be different, of course. Okay, so they say in like the Lemurian epoch, in the time of Lemuria, Bob Frissell, I've mentioned him sometimes, a book that I read of his that I I don't know, I haven't read it in a long time, but I still really like to reference it when it comes up for me. Wow, there are so many webs today. This is wild. There must be like, I don't know, is there like a spider mating season or something, or a spider? Like, this is so crazy. Okay, yeah, so I was talking about Bob Frissell, and what is the name of his book? Nothing in this book is true, but it's how it is, or something like that. And he talks about the mystery schools. I'm also seeing the right and left eye of Horus, the mystery schools in Lemuria, where there were these, left eye and then right eye initiates. And then eventually there was this coming together to bring forth both sides of the brain, of the eyes, what I'm calling now like hemi-syncing. So yeah, there's something about this. You could feel connected to Lemuria in some way. Okay. Today I also sat with the sun for a few minutes, and when I opened my eyes, it was like my eyes were closed, and I was just receiving solar codes, the like more pastel iridescent sheen. Again, that was coming through, and I could see that like coming off of the rays of the sun. And when I opened my eyes, I looked around, and everything, it's interesting. This is before I saw the other webs. I could almost see this like webbed light, like a web of light. And there was this like beautiful iridescent blue, like everything just looked blue for a second. And then, once my eyes are open, it settled back to what I usually see. I just recorded the other day the Mother Arc transmission. Mother Arc rhythm transmission. So yeah, it's kind of like, feels like that pulse is still kind of around for this transmission as well. Okay, so interestingly, the last few days where I'm staying, I was asked to crack walnuts, and I was at first like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, but I actually got really into it, and I really enjoyed it. And walnuts look like brains, kind of, if you look at it. And they say in herbalism, like, to treat certain things, when you look in nature, whatever you're looking for, the pattern of, let's say, for example, a walnut, is good for brain health, or amplifying brain nutrition, because it's similar, like, it reflects what it looks like in the brain. So, yeah, there's different nuts, plants, etc., that will sort of mimic or look like a body part, or an ethereal aspect, like flowers that can assist with certain things in the body. Anyway, so it's interesting that I was working with walnuts, because I just put together all of the synchronicity of the brain and the pineal. And it's funny because as I was cracking these walnuts open, it's like, I don't know, I felt this like primalness come through me a little bit in a way. And then also more webs. Guys, this is so crazy. Like, I wish I could show all of this these webs everywhere. I'm standing in front of a castle right now, and I keep getting distracted by these webs. So there could be some distractions here and there that have been popping in. But again, it doesn't feel like you're getting stuck in these distractions. It feels more like we're in these sticky situations. I don't know, maybe someone here is eating like honey or maple syrup or agave or something sticky, or maybe even craving that or something. I just heard Ra, Ra, like Ra, the sun. They call the sun god Ra. Okay, so give me a second. There's something that I was, so eating certain foods, like brain health, concentration could be helpful right now. Or maybe that's something you're already doing. Chipmunks have been coming up a lot, so you could be seeing something about chipmunks, or look up the spiritual meaning of spirit animal of chipmunk. I already mentioned spiders, horses. I'm pausing because I had written something down. Okay, so the crystal skulls, that has also been coming up here and there. And today felt like a good day to talk about it. So the crystal skull consciousness, that could be something that intrigues you, or that you've been working with, or you're feeling called to work with. They say that there are still these, the 13 crystal skulls, different ones underneath the earth in certain places and locations. I don't know why, but I always tune in. When I first tuned into this, I kept being shown like Crete. I haven't like backed up the research or anything, so I'm genuinely not sure, but if anyone knows, please feel free to share. But I always feel like connected to this, like the Isle of Crete. And there's like the story of the Apollo sun god. There's something about like following the sun and then turned into a dolphin. Dolphins have also been coming up a lot lately. There's something about that. I also had a dream last night about gender, like gender reassignment, understanding gender from not just a biological perspective, but also from a more like multidimensional, like, when you see and perceive like parallel lives and other existences, if that's something you connect with, there's something about looking at gender through that lens. And I know in the ancient Egypt traditions, I remember my friend telling me something about how there was like these incarnational cycles of like incarnating as male, incarnating as female, and it seemed a little complicated for it didn't completely sit with me, but I think there is something about, I just looked into the sky and I'm seeing like this being kind of in the clouds, but I'm only seeing half of its face, and it looks like it has this like really beautiful like headdress, essentially like a wispy, very high hair, big skull, and like an eye open on its forehead, and there's like this reddish rainbowish light streaming out of its like where the nose would be. Very interesting. Pretty sure a bug just flew in my mouth, so if you'll give me a second to work with that. Okay. It's so funny how over the years I've gotten so much more comfortable with the natural world, if you will, bugs and insects and spiders, and I wasn't always like that. A butterfly. I think sometimes I confuse certain butterflies and moths. It was black, and it just flew by me as I said that. And I can't remember if I recorded this or not already, but when I was in the kitchen the other day, the door was open, and this here's a dragonfly, a butterfly or moth flew right up to me and almost landed on my hand and like stared at me and then went past me towards the basement. So yeah, you could be having like your own experiences with like becoming more comfortable. Some of you may have always been like that, but some of you it may be like a newer thing or something that you had to work through. You might just notice that there's deeper interactions with your surroundings. like especially with more of the, what I'm calling the natural world in terms of, animals, insects, plants, trees, the celestial bodies, etc. Okay. So there was something else coming through about the crystal skulls and the connection to, like in the beginning when I was talking about the Keylon code activations within the rhomboid crystals in the brain structures, and also with the fine-tuning of the connection to the I can feel a release coming into the morphogenetic field, what we call, or the quantum field. There's different names for it, of course. So please insert whatever phrase works best for you, or name. Excuse me. But yeah, so the last few days, off and on, I've been having these like waves of inner ear like shifting and rebalancing. I can't remember if I talked about this in the last recording that I did on YouTube or Patreon, but it's coming up again. So yeah, my ears have really been going through this rebalancing, and inner earth frequencies are coming through, and there's something about the inner earth rebalancing and coming through those of us who are sensitive enough to perceive. So our ears are going through an I keep hearing this phrase, like a next octave awakening or remembrance, the next octave of consciousness that's coming through balancing the inner ears. So like I said, my ears have been, just like pressure shifting. I'm hearing this like whooshing sound that I hear often. That sounds like a heartbeat, almost like on a sonogram when you hear like the shwoom, shwoom. That's not the right sound, but I hope you know what I mean. So the Schumann resonance, as we know, within the last year, I think it was, changed. And they say that before it wasn't taken into account what we call the inner earth frequency. And so now that there's this like resurgence and remembrance of more people, tuning into this crystalline consciousness and awakening through the syncing of the right and left hemispheres of the brain, the high heart unconditional love template awakening and activation, the grids on the earth. Indigo Angel's work, she talks a lot about this, and I kept hearing the dove grid that she speaks on, the freedom codes that have been, I'm seeing 2022, that were like, a lot of us have been uploading, downloading, shedding, metamorphosizing, all these things. And now there's like this, I call it like the hatching of codes, like hatchlings, where we're actually starting to see the embodied hatched codes that are co-creating this next level of octave consciousness, and what that's showing like in our projected hologram. So not everyone will probably be perceiving this, because it's kind of like anything in life. There's those of us who are more on the, I guess, pioneer of it and actually bringing it through and birthing it, if you will. So, and again, this is not like for me to say like, oh, anyone's better than anyone. Not at all. It's just we're all here for a unique experience, and also a co-created unity consciousness remembrance. So everyone's, I believe, right where they're supposed to be, and etc., etc. So you could be seeing the number 144. There's something about these dragonflies. Every time they fly by me, it's like I just have to stop and stare. So you could be noticing that maybe that's happening to you. Maybe you're getting stared at more often, or there could just be something about your aura that you feel like has been shifted. I know a few personal sessions that I've been getting this similar message of like a reorganization of the auric field, and I just felt like something pulse through the right side of my chest into like where the outline of the armpit would start. So it kind of feels like, lymphatic drainage could be relevant right now. Self lymphatic drainage. There's so many videos. If anyone's interested, I have been practicing this for a while, so I can share in a video sometime. So feel free to comment if you would like to know more about that. Oh, I just felt it. Okay, so thank you for reminding me. So this like feeling of almost like slight it's like dizziness, where I've been, if I get up a certain way or when I lay down before sleep or right when I wake up, the last few days I've just been feeling like dizzy a little bit. It doesn't last very long. And I was talking about the Schumann resonance. So now that the aurora timelines, like from some of Lisa Renee's work, and Becca from Soul Based Life talks about this, and obviously it comes from Asha Nadine's work and Phil Gruber. There's different people, but I've also been feeling this myself for a long time, and I've just been finding my own way of how to speak on these topics and share through these transmissions, but they've all assisted me for sure in feeling more confident to speak about it and helping with some of the vernacular so that I can express certain things, in more of a like loosely structured way. And so parallel timelines have been coming up a lot lately. And like I said, I can't remember if I talked about this in the last video. So if I'm repeating myself, it just wants to come through again. So when I was a teenager-ish, preteen maybe, I would have these dreams about Belgium, that I had this like life in Belgium. And I've had other dreams like this as well, not just Belgium. But when I was in this park the other day near where I'm staying, I was sitting and remembering a dream that I had like the night before. This was like maybe a few days ago, and I had a parallel dream again. I think I did talk about this. Anyway, I'm bringing it up because, again, with the Schumann resonance, I think because more of us are reawakening to these, original angelic human blueprint abilities. Like I believe all humans have this capability once they, maybe not in this lifetime, but it's about tuning into the organic ascension timeline and the crystalline consciousness to be able to remember that our potential for, again, when like dolphins, how they utilize allegedly like all of their brain, like I believe humans have that capability as well. And I've been seeing these like little tidbits, just like on YouTube or in the shows about like joking about using all of the brain. And there was this movie, actually, oh my god, my friend showed me quite a little while back, and if you hear this, you know who you are. It's called Lucy with, again, I feel like I already recorded this. This is so weird. I'm having like deja vu. Or maybe I did do it and I just, whatever. Lucy, maybe you're having these experiences too, where like, timelines feel very like malleable right now and almost like they're bleeding into each other. So it could kind of feel like a little trippy right now. And so anyway, time travel, timeline shifting, through dreams, through astral states, etc. Where, I've just been seeing references to like using brain capacity and then like more fullness of brain capacity. And like, it's always been this like sci-fi type of phenomenon, but I feel like more people are actually, biohacking could be something that maybe some of you are working with. But anyway, so if you've seen the movie Lucy with, what is her name? My last boyfriend loved her. Why can't I remember her name? Blonde hair, Scarlett Johansson. I'm sure most people love her, but she like essentially gets full access of her brain, and then is able to practice telekinesis and all of these different ESP, and yeah, you can watch the movie if you want, but yeah, there's just something all about this like coming up, and so with time becoming a little bit less solid, if you will, or linear when we tap into these spaces, so when I was having these dreams the last few weeks with parallel timelines and dipping into different years and different time frames, and yeah, it's really interesting. I was waking up with like these dizziness spells, and you know, they say in movies and stuff, if you've seen like, time travel, like when they talk about time travel movies, you can get a little bit dizzy and like a little bit of a bloody nose. And the one day I literally, after the parallel dream, I woke up with my nose is a little bit bloody. I definitely did talk about this. Yeah, my nose is a little bit bloody. So, and that like hasn't happened in so long. And I was dizzy. And then as soon as I went to the bathroom, I was fine. So anyway, yeah, you could be having some of these experiences, or maybe that's something you're just interested in. Back to the Aurora timelines, like, and the Aurora consciousness, because they say the Aurora re-encryption, there could be some messages in that transmission that I did a bit ago. Okay, there's 2 planes right now, and they're like making an X with their trails, so someone could feel like they're at a crossroads, or maybe you're about to make a big decision, or you just did make a big decision. But this also really feels kind of crazy because like the webs and instead of reminds me, it could be that too, but it also reminds me of like, we're talking about multiple timelines here, and timelines intersecting and realms intersecting. It's just kind of cool to see that. And all the different webs too, like, you know, like string theory, M theory. So there's something here about like vibrating strings, like these dimensional perspectives and these dimensional theories always say that there's like a vibrating string to represent a dimension. So yeah, just kind of cool to see all of these different things in our awakening, in our reality, that can like be interpreted in many different ways. Anyway, so back to the Schumann resonance, they say now that more people are remembering, you know, the Fey realms, these alleged dimensions that are right on top of us or intersecting with us, that only are perceived when we remember a certain heart-based connection or state of consciousness. And it doesn't always last, so sometimes it can happen in and out. But I think that's the process, and we're slowly, or actually it feels kind of fast at this point, anchoring more of that. So the Schumann resonance has literally shifted. We're seeing the aurora borealis in different places, moving around, you know, an expansion of these aurora timelines is what it feels like to me. And the crystal skulls are coming more back online, and more people are talking about them. So yeah, there's like these pieces, these fractalized pieces of what we refer to as higher consciousness or higher dimensional frequencies integrated in our physical reality, and starting to, not just starting, but actually, you know, I'm hearing like flourishing, and I'm seeing like fountains of colors, like just bursting. Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. So hence the Schumann resonance now being like almost accounted for with these other realms that have been for so long by the masses called as, you know, fantasy or fiction. Fiction is a fake one, right? I always confuse that. Sci-fi. And yes, are some of these depictions maybe a little bit perhaps blown out of proportion in like movies and books. I'm not saying it's all just like that, but I do think that, like I always say, there's kernels of truth everywhere. And it's funny because the movie Enchanted keeps coming up for me, so that could be for someone. Let me see. I think I'm going to end it here, but I'll probably do an overflow on Patreon. I was just about to walk into another web. I'm actually not sure what's going to come through on that. I might just leave it open, and I'll probably look in the Ascension Glossary and read a little bit of some of the higher Ascension mechanic teachings to sort of weave in what we've been talking about in this transmission, and then maybe some personal experiences that I've had with some of this higher octave consciousness, like showing itself and anchoring in throughout the last couple years. Obviously I won't share all of them, but I'll see what ones come up. Yeah, and here's another. Oh, okay, here we go. Excuse me. Ooh. Yeah, releasing through the throat can be also really, I feel like that's been going on for a while now. It feels like there might be a clearing up of that soon, including for me. So maybe there's some sort of like, instead of just releasing through the throat, there's finally going to be some relief I'm hearing. Yeah, so there's another crossing with these plain trails. And I just looked, and there's like another line that was formed in one of the lines, but it's so faint, and it kind of like shifts out to the left, almost like branches when there's multiple twigs that are sticking out. So breathing, I'm seeing breathing, like working with breathing right now, deep breathing, slow breathing, as well as like more short, sharp exhales, like when you're really pushing out the air. Yeah, I'm actually seeing first to do the sharp, fast breathing, and then really breathing in, holding it, squeezing your body, squeezing as much as you can, and then just like, and then a few long, deep breaths. I don't know, there's something about that sequence that can be helpful for some of you. Of course, if you're a woman and you are menstruating, doing really quick breath, like breath of fire, isn't recommended. So you can do it maybe a little bit slower, but just the idea of like exhaling and releasing, more so than intake, and then working with the slow inhale, exhale. Yeah, that could be helpful, but there is something still about these parallel timelines coming through, and what we call like future Earth timelines. Yeah, I don't know. I woke up today, and the last few days I've been feeling this, just like this newness, and I'm feeling more like vitality. So wherever you are at, I just wanted to share that like there's been plenty of moments where I did not feel that way, and I really needed to like, let my body do its thing, and sometimes sleep more than usual, or sometimes I was like really hungry and I just felt like I needed to eat a lot. There's just been these like different phases, and I just want to honor all of those phases, because sometimes like, I hear like, oh, the sun is out in your life and now everything's just going to be amazing. Like, that's great. But there are, we're still here on earth, and life happens, and, it's all about how we deal with it and giving ourselves time. So if you don't feel a lot of vitality right now, just know that, what's that expression? The sun always comes out again at some point. So yeah, it's okay. And, that's basically it for now. Yeah, so feel free to share. Share how you feel, or comment, or anything like that. Thank you so much for listening, and feel free to tune into the overflow on Patreon extended. They're now for sale individually, as well as like becoming a member. So there's some options. And one more thing, music was coming through. So today I hadn't listened to music that sometimes I like listen to subliminals and like mantras and different things that I love all of these things. But today I just was listening to music. Maybe I did mention this, I can't remember. My short-term memory lately is very skewed, which my long-term memory is generally like really good and even short-term, but lately, like the last 2 days, my short-term memory, I feel like when we're shifting timelines like this a lot, like lately, like things are more, I'm getting the word like malleable. It's like my short-term memory is just not, I don't know, there's something like things are just bleeding into each other. Anyway, so if I didn't mention this, my apologies, but yeah, there was just something about listening to music and like, or whatever it is that makes you feel that type of like just freedom and not trying to do or fix anything. It was just so enjoyable. So yeah, maybe that could help someone. Dancing, like I said earlier, cracking walnuts. Like there's just something about doing something to really anchor you into, the present moment, as we say. Okay, that's all. Thank you.